Welcome to BloombergQuint. This is a historic week for India's tax system. We have finally made one big step towards the implementation of a goods and services tax, or GST. That constitutional amendment bill was passed by the Rajya Sabha just a few days ago, and now work will begin on all the other processes that need to be completed for GST to become a reality. One very important and critical process is that of the IT network, and therefore today we're speaking with the chairman of the GSTN, Naveen Kumar, to talk to us about where GSTN has reached in the process of preparedness. Mr. Kumar, thank you very much for speaking with BloombergQuint.
You're welcome.
I'd like to start by asking you, describe to me GSTN's mission. I understand it's a not-for-profit body that was set up in 2013 with the explicit reason to set up an IT infrastructure for GST in India. What does that entail?
Yeah, that's right. It's a not-for-profit, non-government, private limited companies promoted by the central and state governments. And the specific mandate of the company is to build the IT infrastructure and services required for implementing GST. And these services will be made available to all stakeholders, such as the central tax department and the tax departments of all the state governments, the RBI, the banks, etc. And of course the taxpayers.
So your team has been working very hard since 2013. Can you take us through the various steps you all have gone through already in building out this network and where we stand today in terms of GSTN's preparedness?
You see, last year, that is in 2015, we had called for offers from IT companies to come to us to carry out this task of building the GST, the common GST portal, all the applications that will run on the portal, to bring the hardware, to load the applications on the hardware, and to run it and operate it for 5 years. So at that time, we had received offers from all the big companies like TCS and Infosys, Wipro, Microsoft, and Mahindra Infratech. So all of them came, and we selected Infosys on the basis of a national bidding. So November 2015, we awarded the contract to them. And at that time, we asked them to go ahead with the application development. And we asked them to wait for our signal for placing order for the hardware. So this happened in November last year. And so since November, they have been working on the software part. Realizing that and giving all the knowledge in hand, and very good progress in this. For the hardware, we were waiting for the Rajya Sabha to pass the constitutional amendment, which has happened now. So we have given them a go-ahead for placing the order for hardware. So this is where we stand today.
So could you share some more detail with us on what the process of putting in place the hardware will mean in terms of both timelines and cost, and equally in terms of the software preparedness, where things stand today?
Yeah, you see, so far as the financials of the project are concerned, the total cost is around 1,380 crores, which includes the cost of hardware, software, and the operations for 5 years. So now that we have given them the go-ahead for hardware, they will place the order for the same, and we expect that the hardware, entire hardware is to be imported, and this will be installed and tested and made ready to accept the software, and by December it will be ready. By that time, the software, further work on that will continue. We hope to start testing the software from October. And in December, then it will go on to the hardware, and then we'll have start the beta in February. So that is the schedule, so that everything is ready before 31st March.
Mr. Kumar, can you explain to me, when you say that you hope to start testing the software in October, will you be testing this software in terms of converging the current VAT, service tax, central excise registrations and migrating them to a GST registration from a various states' point of view?
Yeah, that is also part of the task that we are going to perform. See, software development is one part. Migration of existing taxpayers of that, which number about more than 65 lakhs, and about 20 lakhs of service tax taxpayers, and about 3-4 lakhs of central excise, their migration will start. According to our schedule, we would start in sometime in October, and it will go on until February, 4 months, because there we would be asking all the taxpayers to come to our portal and fill in the information. We already have the numbers and the essential information regarding the company's name or their constitution that we have, but rest of the information they are supposed to fill up. So this will happen between October and February.
So do you have the systems in place for this to happen already, or will they be built out in the months to come and you will be ready only in October?
No, that work is going on, but it will be ready this month itself. You see, we came to Bangalore to discuss that only, the progress on that. We had a meeting with Infosys today. So that work is going on. It will be ready on time because that software also, that has also to be tested, and then only then it will go live on most likely on 2nd October.
So if I understand correctly, sir, you said that you should be able to enable the migration of almost about 90 lakh currently registered traders and businesses from their various VAT, service tax, excise registrations to a GST registration by October this year. That's October.
Yeah, it will start in October, but it will go on until February.
And what about new registrations, sir?
New registrations with the GST, the date from which GST is rolled out, which is the target date is 1st April. So from 1st April, new registrations will begin. And because that will be registration under GST directly.
And you have tested the robustness of the software backend at least to be able to deal with 90 lakh migrations, and then of course, several 100,000 or several more lakh new registrations.
Well, we have not tested yet, but we are going to test, because that, as I told you, for the migration part, the software is almost ready. So we are starting testing of that software now. But it will be available for taxpayers to come and enter their information starting from October. Okay. And so far as the GST part is concerned, that software is still under development. And I told you that testing will start from October, November, December. We have scheduled different parts for testing starting from October. And from February, the entire thing will be ready, so we'll have the beta run.
All right. Mr. Kumar, the government yesterday released a sort of proposed timeline for the implementation of GST, in which it suggested that the GSTN front end and back end for 17 states will be ready by December 2016, and for all stakeholders, obviously, by April 2017. Now, what you've just described to me in terms of the software development, the migration, the new registrations, is that what the government is referring to when it says front end and back end for 17 states by December? Or is that a separate process that you have to work on parallelly?
That is different. You see, what we are doing is the front end.
Okay.
That is where the taxpayers will come. They will register themselves. They will, file their return and make tax payments. That is the front end. Back end is the part where, once we get all the data, we'll pass it on to the respective tax authorities, and they will do their tax administration functions like assessment and audit and adjudication, things like that. So for that is called the back end. So normally one would expect the states to develop that. But in fact 19 states, they approached us saying that please help us do it. So we have agreed to do that for 19 states. So that work also we are doing, and that will also simultaneously be ready.
And how do the other states expect to do this, sir? The other states are intending to do it on their own?
They are doing it on their own, and they've all made progress. So we hope that all of them will be able to We'll manage to do it by 1st of April.
Do you anticipate any challenges given that 19 states will be using GST and to do this, whereas the others doing it on their own?
There will be no challenge because you see, so far as we are concerned, we are looking at the front end. All the data is there. Now, after they pass on the data to each tax authority, it is up to them how they process the data, how they keep it. They are not going to send it back to us. So, it is entirely up to them. But what we have done, we have shared with these states we call Model 1, Model 2 states. Model 1 states are those who are doing their back-end themselves. Model 2 are those for whom we are doing the back-end. So, the Model 2 back-end processes, we have shared with all the Model 1 states. It is up to them to adopt it. We have suggested that if you adopt it, there will be uniformity. But even if you have your own processes, it will not pose any problems.
All right, so just to make sure I've understood this correctly, there is a front-end process that involves the interface with taxpayers across the country, and you said that the software part at least is work in progress right now to be able to migrate 90 lakh current taxpayers in the indirect tax system, and the migration process will start in October. New registrations, of course, will start in April next year. That's the front end of things. As far as the software is concerned, you said that that is already in test process right now and that you will be able to scale it up starting October. The hardware orders are just being placed. And when it comes to the back end, there are 19 states you're assisting to set up their internal systems so that those systems be synced with the state network so that data can be shared with the state officials, and the other states are doing it on their own and you're sharing best practice with them. Have I summarized that correctly?
That's right.
Give me an idea of how incredibly challenging this process has been, because India is with a very large indirect tax network, and it would be interesting to hear what process has been over the last couple of years and the challenges you all have faced together.
There are many challenges. The first challenge is that it's an entirely new thing for the country because it is very different from the systems for VAT or central excise or service tax. Although these are all value-added taxes, but since all of them are coming together, so what is emerging now will be entirely different from whatever the country has experienced. Therefore, this is a big challenge. It's a new thing. The second is the size. You see, until now, the largest taxpayer base, among the indirect tax was with Central Board of Excise and Customs. So they had 20 lakh service tax payers, and the states had 5 lakh, 7 lakhs. Now, we'll be looking at something like 1 taxpayers. The size of the system is humongous, and therefore we have to be very sure that what the system that we prepare is efficient enough and robust enough to take this load, and it is efficient enough to deliver a very good experience to the users. So that is the second one. The third one, as I said, since this is a new thing, therefore we have to familiarize the tax officials as well as the taxpayers, with the new system. And it has two parts. One part is, familiarity with the law. The other part is familiarity with the IT system. The law part, the Revenue Department, Ministry of Finance, Revenue Department, they are organizing training programs. We are also assisting. For that, we have drawn up a program of a series of training programs for tax officials, and we'll be collaborating with all the trade bodies for disseminating information and training material to the taxpayers through them. So this is the program. So there are many challenges. It will be perhaps one of the most complex systems that the world has seen, one of the largest tax systems that the world has seen.
Mr. Kumar, can I ask you from a business point of view, what should business expect in terms of how their interface will change? So if you can in very simple terms describe for me how currently business interacts with the variety of central and state indirect tax authorities and how that interaction or interface will change once they have to approach GST through the GSTN system.
Yes, today what happens is you look at any of the three major indirect taxes which are being subsumed under GST. You see, so far the VAT, it's not entirely in electronic form. The filings are, in many states, a good number of filings take place on manual basis. Although all states now have a computer system, but not everybody is required to file in electronic form. So that is one big difference that will happen, because under the GST, whether big or small, every taxpayer is supposed to register himself and file his returns in electronic form. So this will be one change for the taxpayers. Now, this is not a very big challenge, because those who have started electronic filing under the VAT or service tax, they would know how to handle the system. And for the smaller taxpayers, what we have through our study, we have found in case of VAT that these smaller taxpayers use the services of tax consultants to file their returns now. And these tax consultants are quite savvy. They won't have much of a problem. And in order to facilitate the small taxpayers file their return or to interact with our system, we are encouraging the private sector to come up with applications, mobile applications that would tablets so that the smaller system easily. So this is the main difference that will come. There will also be a difference in terms of the manner in which returns are filed. Because today what is that every taxpayer files a return of giving the details of his sales and purchases. Now, on the basis of his tax credit is allowed. Now, ideally, the tax officer must look at the return filed and verify whether the input tax credit claimed or not. But because of the large numbers, it is not possible. So that happens only during audit or assessment, which is 2 to 5% of the taxpayers are taken up under audit or assessment. So there is a impression, and in audit it has been found that a large number of input tax credit claims are invalid. So on our system, it will be verified online, the input tax credit. So for the taxpayers, it will be good, because online verification will be there and they'll get the credit immediately. And those who are trying to take inflated credits, that will be prevented.
Okay.
Another difference will be, another difference is that the taxpayers are being asked to file only the return of sales. So they file the sales returns by 10th of the month. This is the law that is coming, that has been put on the website. By 10th, they will submit their sales returns. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Then these sales data will be populated in the purchase returns of the purchasers. So they don't have to file. So this will go into their account. They only have to look at it and say, yes, this is correct. If they found it is not correct, they will make the correction. So this input tax credit, will be taken care of automatically, because they can now decide that, yes, this is the amount of tax I have paid or I have collected. So from there on, the matching of input tax credit will become very easy, and it will be 100% correct.
Mr. Kumar, I understand, like you pointed out, that this is probably the world's largest and most complex tax system that's being put in place. We are a country that is frequented by sometimes power shortages, sometimes the lack of bandwidth or internet connectivity. And I'm just curious to know, in the face of very simple challenges of that nature, do you think it will be easy or difficult for small business? Big companies might be able to overcome it, but for small businesses to be able to seamlessly connect with the GSTN network, whether they do it directly on their own or they do it through consultants?
You see, I already mentioned that for these small taxpayers, are encouraging private sector to come up with these small apps that they can run on the mobile. You see, okay, now in India, the mobile population is very high. You will find on the street everybody has a mobile. So we think that that will help really those small taxpayers who do not want to go to tax consultants. Consultants, of course, have connectivity. So there is no problem with regard to that. So here is a small taxpayers. This is the strategy that we have also decided to put, some apps which they can download from our system and use for uploading to our system.
All right. And so,
and that will be available on mobile also.
Okay. So it is expected, like in most countries, that the first year or two of implementation of GST are the toughest years, because that's when you see some deviation in prices, not the expected deviation in prices, but some volatility in prices, when you see the systems trying to cope with the influx of registrations. What do you expect year one and year two to be like?
See, I am not the right person to answer this question, because this is a question for financial analysts or for economists.
Okay.
But what can I tell you that, yes, in the first 2 years, we will also have issues, because, when you run such a large system,
yes,
there would be some problems that will come up. But our effort is to build a system, and so that whenever any issue is flagged, we should be able to resolve that within a defined period of time. Okay. So that is so that our system is available all the time, and it's responsive, it's fast.
All right. So I have one final question. What advice would you give to businesses, both big and small, traders, individuals that will need to register on the GSTN network? How should they start preparing for this transition to this new tax, GST?
Yeah, the businesses have time now. We are in July, and this tax will come from 1st of April. So during this time, they need to, all the big businesses and even the all businesses, I should say, are today filing returns under the prevailing tax regime. And for that, they have made certain arrangements. Those arrangements would have to be modified in the light of the new processes and law. So we have called, agencies like the SAP and Oracle and like this ePasha, all these software, accounting software people, and we have told them that they should start working on their modifying their software, so that the clients that they handle, for them they can make the filing of tax returns under the GST regime, easy, and they facilitate that. So I believe that these companies will, they are already at it, and so that should not be. It is a challenge, because the time is not very long. So, but I think they will be able to do it.
Okay, then this is my very last question, in fact. Do you believe April 1st, 2017 is a realistically achievable target for the implementation of GST? Would you have preferred it if there was some more time available for systems and infrastructure to be in place for a smooth transition to this new tax?
Yeah, I can talk about the IT part, and we will be ready by 1st of April, because we had started early. We started in fact, we started on this thing in December 2014. That is when we appointed our consultant to draft the project, and what all will go into the RFP. So, and we had at that time discussed with the IT industry also, taking their suggestions. So we had the time to make preparations. So we will be ready by 31st of April. So I think so far as we are concerned, it's quite practical.
All right, Mr. Kumar, I appreciate the time you've spent in explaining this process to us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today.
Thanks.
Thank you.